Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. Today's video is in collaboration with Tiffany at Small Town 6. Tiffany is a wife and a mama to 4. She does all kinds of good content on her channel. She does what's for dinner videos, cooking, grocery hauls, cleaning, decorating, all kinds of stuff. So head on over to her channel as soon as you're done watching my video, show her some love and let her know that I sent you. If you're coming to my channel from Tiffany's, welcome. Like I said, my name's Megan. I do weekly what's for dinner videos and grocery hauls and other recipe and cooking videos. I hope that you take a look around my channel and that you'll consider subscribing. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. So if you'd like to get some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. First up was New Year's Day. I had every intention of doing like Southern traditional New Year's Day foods for dinner, like pork, greens, black-eyed peas, cornbread, but I had made a lot of appetizers for New Year's Eve and my family came over and then I cooked brunch for us. And while cleaning, getting ready for them, cooking, and then cleaning up, I just didn't feel like cooking this night. And we had a ton of leftovers left from New Year's Eve, so that's just what we had for dinner this first night. We warmed up a bunch of appetizers and that was it. Super quick and easy dinner and a great way to use up the leftovers we had. Dinner the next night was another super quick and easy dinner and off meal plan. I didn't feel like cooking this night. I kind of felt like I was coming down with the cold. About 24 hours after that, though, I felt a lot better. But again, didn't feel like cooking, so I took some frozen chicken strips. These are the Kroger brand. I just cooked them in the air fryer and served it with some of the fruit left over from the fruit tray that I'd done for New Year's Eve, and that was dinner this night. The next day was my birthday, so my husband and I went to Cheddar's for dinner with my mom and my dad and my 2 youngest siblings. My sister, who's closest in age to me, had the dreaded C word, and so she wasn't able to come, unfortunately, but it was a really nice night. We started with their chips and queso. I don't know what Cheddar's does to their queso and their salsa. I do know that they make their salsa, the queso, all of their dressings, they make it in-house, but it is delicious. It's so good, and so we started with that. I forgot to take a picture of that though. I apologize. And then for my entree, I got their New Orleans pasta. This was so much food. It's so filling. I saved half of it and had the other half for lunch the next day. And then for my birthday cake, I really wanted a strawberry cheesecake. So we had picked up a strawberry cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory, and that was my birthday cake. Like I said, it was a really nice dinner. We had a good time and it was a really great birthday. And thank you so much to all of you who have shared with me birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe from Plain Chicken called the Ultimate White Chicken Chili. I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below. And if you watch my grocery hauls, you'll notice that for the past several weeks, this has been on the meal plan and I kept procrastinating, and I'll explain why I kept procrastinating in just a minute. But first I want to show you how I made this. This recipe was super budget friendly, really easy. It was delicious, and best of all, it was quick. This took like maybe 20 minutes to put together, so it's a perfect weeknight meal, especially during these colder months. So like I said, let me show you how I made this so easy. I've got my saucepan over about medium heat. You could use a Dutch oven. I have the butter in here. Once it's melted, I'm going to sprinkle in my flour, whisk that, and then cook the flour and butter for about 2 minutes. Next, you basically just add everything to the pot. So I'm adding some chicken broth, or in my case, chicken base and water, half and half, some shredded chicken. This happens to be part of a rotisserie chicken that's left over. You could use leftover shredded chicken or just take a couple chicken breasts and boil them up and shred them. Then you're going to need 2 cans of white kidney beans or cannellini beans that you've rinsed and drained, a can of white corn drained, 2 cans of chopped green chilies, and I'm using the medium heat, but you could use mild. Even with the medium heat, it still wasn't hot. Diced onion flakes, garlic powder, cumin, chili powder, salt and pepper, and then some shredded pepper jack cheese, and that's it. You just stir everything together and simmer it for 10 to 15 minutes. It's done. Like I said, so easy. While I'm finishing that, a quick note. The reason I procrastinated making this is because I've only made white chicken chili one other time, and it was years ago. It was a different recipe, and we didn't like it that much. My husband and I aren't big soup people anyway, and he's especially not a chili lover, at least not the traditional chili with the tomato sauce and ground beef. So I just kind of been putting it off, but I'm glad that I made it. Like I said, this was delicious. Here's the finished soup, and then to go alongside this, I made some cornbread. I thought I took a picture of the box, but I guess I didn't. It's just the Krusteaz honey cornbread mix. If you all have never tried that before, I highly recommend it. It's delicious. So I cooked that according to the package instructions. To serve it up, I just took some of the chili, sprinkled a little extra shredded pepper jack cheese on top, and then added some chopped green onions, and we have the cornbread. That was it. Super, super delicious. For dinner the next night, I made a Pan BBQ Chicken Bake. I've made this a couple times before. I may have shared it before on my channel. I can't remember, but it's delicious and it's really quick and easy. So for one of the side dishes, I'm making broccoli casserole. I'm going to get started on that first. I've made this broccoli casserole recipe for years and years. It's delicious. We love it. So to get started with the broccoli casserole, I'm going to crush up some Ritz crackers. These are the snowflake Ritz crackers. They come out at Christmas, and I don't know why, but I've noticed in the past couple years, there's these crackers, when you take them out of the package, they just like instantly crumble. And so I didn't want to throw them away, but I figured I'd use it for stuff like this. So I'm going to crush those up and then add in some melted butter and give that a stir. And I'll of course have this recipe typed out in the description box below for you. In my saucepan, I've got it over medium heat. I'm going to add in a can of cream of mushroom soup. If you don't like cream of mushroom, I'm sure you could use some other cream soup. I've never tried it before though. Now, for my original recipe, it called for the Kraft garlic cheese. It used to come in like a little round package, had like white and green. They stopped making it years ago. So now I just use Velveeta cheese. You can use cubed up Velveeta. I didn't have any on hand. I had a couple of these pouches of Velveeta cheese sauce, so I'm using 2 pouches for this recipe. I'm going to add that, and then to make up for the garlic flavor in that garlic cheese, I'm going to add a little garlic powder, a little bit of pepper, and then that's it. I'm going to give it a stir and cook it on, like I said, about medium low heat until the Velveeta is completely melted. And then I'm going to add in a bag of frozen broccoli. Now I'm having the original recipe, so I just use the 1 bag of broccoli, and I'm going to stir that and cook it for just maybe 2 or 3 minutes until the broccoli starts to get soft. Now you could, of course, microwave the broccoli ahead of time if you want to, but it's really not necessary. You can just toss it in frozen. The oven has been preheated. I normally cook this casserole at 350 degrees, but today I cooked it at 375 just because that's what I cooked the chicken at as well. I'm going to add the broccoli cheese mixture to a casserole dish that I've sprayed with some cooking spray. I'm going to spread that out and then sprinkle over the buttered Ritz cracker crumbs, and that's it. This will go into the preheated oven for about 20 to 30 minutes until the Ritz crackers have turned golden brown. Now for the chicken, I have some chicken breasts here. You can use as many as you need for your family. Now the recipe doesn't say, which again, I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below. It doesn't say to season the chicken, but I can't do that. Chicken needs seasoning, I gotta season it. So today I'm using some of this Kinder's barbecue seasoning, some garlic powder, and a little bit of pepper. That Kinder seasoning, the first ingredient is salt, so just kind of be mindful of that. Once I've seasoned that first side, I'm going to place my chicken breasts into a casserole dish that I've sprayed with some cooking spray, and then I'm going to season the other side of the chicken. Next, I'm going to take some barbecue sauce. Just use your favorite. I had a little bit of this Sweet Baby Ray's on hand, but I didn't have quite enough, so I added a little bit of this Duke's Georgia Sweet Heat barbecue sauce. Wanted to use both of them up, so I'm going to spread that out with a spoon. Next, we're going to add the bacon. You can use just raw bacon if you'd prefer. I like to add the pre-cooked bacon. I get this at Sam's Club. I just broke it into pieces, and then this is going to go into the oven. Now, the recipe says to bake it at 400 degrees. My broccoli casserole usually cooks at 350, so I cook both of them at 375, just kind of met in the middle. And you just want to cook the chicken until it's at least 165 degrees internal temperature. While the chicken and casserole are cooking, I'm going to get started on my other side. I'm just making some quick sweet carrots. I've shared this before on my channel. It's really easy. You just take a can of carrots. I just use 1 can for us. You can use more than 1 if you need to. I drain it really well, and then I add the canned carrots to the saucepan. I add just a little bit of butter, just maybe a tablespoon or so, a little salt and pepper, and then a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. You can also add honey or maple syrup, whatever you prefer. I'm going to give that a stir, and then I just cook this on about medium-low heat while the chicken and the broccoli casserole are finishing. To finish up the chicken, I sprinkled it with a little shredded cheddar cheese. You could use Colby Jack, pepper jack, whatever you've got on hand or whatever you prefer. And then this went back into the oven for another 5 minutes until the cheese was melted. Here are those finished carrots. Here's the finished barbecue chicken bake. And then here is that broccoli casserole. Next, I'll show you our plates. Here's the finished plates. This took about 30, maybe 45 minutes with prep to make. Really quick and easy, and it's so good, super delicious. I recommend you all give these recipes a try. For the last dinner in this week's video, I made Sloppy Joes. Now, this was a little bit off meal plan. I'd planned on making homemade hamburger helper, but just this night, it just didn't sound good to me for some weird reason. But I'd already pulled out some already cooked ground beef from my freezer, and it had thawed, and I needed to go ahead and use it up. And we had some brioche buns from Aldi that I wanted to use up, so I just decided to make Sloppy Joes. So this is really easy. I've made this recipe for years. I'll have it linked in the description box below. To get started, I'm going to add some chopped onion to my skillet. You can also add diced green bell pepper or red bell pepper if you would prefer. I'm going to add my beef. Now, if you're using raw ground beef or turkey, you would add that, and of course you'd want to cook it until the ground meat is cooked all the way through. You may need to drain it, but with this, I've already cooked it, so I didn't have to worry about cooking it all the way through. Just wanted to cook it until the onions started to get tender, and I didn't have to drain the meat or anything. I'm stirring in a little bit of minced garlic. The recipe doesn't call for that, but if I have it on hand, I like to add it. Next, I'm going to add in the ketchup, then the water, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, yellow mustard, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper. I'm going to stir it until it's well combined and then just simmer it on low. I mean, the longer it simmers, the better it gets, but really you only have to simmer it for maybe 10 or 15 minutes before you serve it, and it'll be just fine. So another super quick and easy dinner and really budget friendly. And I mean, you can't go wrong with Sloppy Joes. They're delicious. Before you serve this up, give it a taste and make whatever adjustments you feel it needs. If you want it a little bit sweeter, add a little more sugar. You could also add hot sauce. As you can see, the recipe doesn't call for it, but I added a tablespoon or two of barbecue sauce. Just use whatever you and your family like. I was just going to make plain curly fries in the air fryer as a side for this. My husband really wasn't feeling the Sloppy Joes, but we compromised, and I made him some loaded fries to go with the Sloppy Joes because that sounded really good to him. So I cooked these curly fries in my air fryer until they were done. I cooked them at like 400 degrees for about 18 minutes, shaking them halfway through. I've placed them onto a cookie sheet. Honestly, I could have done this in the air fryer, but I was toasting some buns in the oven anyway, and I had the oven turned on, and I really didn't feel like cleaning out the air fryer with the cheese and everything. So I just laid the curly fries out onto a cookie sheet, added some shredded cheddar cheese and some bacon pieces, and I popped this into the oven for just about 5 minutes until the cheese was melted. Here's the finished Sloppy Joes. Then we have the loaded fries. I added some chopped green onions, and then we'll dip this in some ranch dressing. And then I took those brioche buns from Aldi, added a little butter to them, and just toasted them in the oven. Here's the finished plate. So we have the Sloppy Joes. My husband likes cheese with his Sloppy Joes, so I added a slice of cheese to his sandwich. We have the loaded fries with some ranch and then some fruit, and that was dinner this night. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And don't forget to go check out Tiffany's channel. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.